The stock market nosedived today, down almost 650 points. Why? Because of this.
On the tariffs, is there any room left for Canada and Mexico to make a deal before midnight? And should we expect those Chinese tariffs, the extra 10%, to take
no room left for Mexico or for Canada? No, the tariffs, they're all set. They go into effect tomorrow. So what they have to do is build their car plants, frankly, and other things in the United States, in which case they have no tariffs.
You heard him. That was President Trump confirming this afternoon that he is going forward with those 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and moving forward with an additional 10% tariff on China, bringing that total to 20% starting tomorrow. Today's stock market drop wiped out all the gains the market has made since Trump took office and marked the lowest point for stocks since December. Now, in case you aren't picking up the hint here, investors do not like tariffs. But Trump said, unlike last month when he tried to enact these tariffs and then backed down, he said this time he's not going to do that. And there's nothing that Mexico, China, or Canada, or it seems the stock market can do to stop him. Now, here's the thing. Both Mexico and Canada and even China have said that if Trump does go ahead with these tariffs, they will retaliate with tariffs on U.S. imports going into their countries, which would, of course, hurt U.S. suppliers of those goods. And that's not all. President Trump said today he is also moving forward with his plan to impose reciprocal tariffs starting April 2nd. Now, reciprocal tariffs is a matching tariff placed on an imported good into the United States. So if, for example, France puts a 25% tariff on a U.S. import into their country, the United States is going to slap a 25% tariff on a French import into this country. On top of that, President Trump says he will slap tariffs on all agricultural goods being imported into the United States. I know that's a lot, but you have to understand, I've done multiple deep dive videos on tariffs, and the facts are this. Most importantly, the other country, Mexico, China, Canada, whoever it is, generally does not pay for the tariff. In the end, you and me, the consumer, we pay for the tariff. President Trump acknowledged this.
There could be some temporary short-term disruption, and people will understand that.
Fact two, according to the U.S. government, Mexico, China, and Canada are the countries we import the most stuff from. Let's start with food. According to the USDA, Canada and Mexico are the United States' first and third largest suppliers of agricultural products. Mexico supplies the United States with 31% of its fruits and vegetables and alcoholic beverages. Most of our avocados and tomatoes come from Mexico. And Canada is a major source of grains and meat. Speaking of Canada, let's talk about oil. According to the United States Energy Information Agency, from June to November of 2024, the United States imported an average of more than 140 million barrels of crude oil per month from Canada, which of course gets refined into the gasoline that you put into your car. That is almost 4 times the amount of oil we imported from all the OPEC plus countries combined in that same time period. So yeah, we get a lot of our oil from Canada. And for the record, we also get oil from Mexico, but it's less than what we import from OPEC plus. Now let's talk about cars and trucks. We get a large number of those from Canada and Mexico too. And adding a 25% tariff could not only raise the price of new cars, but could also jack up the price of used cars already being sold in this country because the demand for those would also go up. We also get a lot of our plastics, furniture, pharmaceuticals, and of course, lumber from Canada. And from Mexico, we import a lot of other types of machinery and electronics. Now, all of those things could be subject to this 25% tariff going into effect tomorrow. Fact 3, we import a lot of components that are included in products that we use and make here in the United States. For example, an electronic component that goes into your gaming console may come from Mexico. Even if that console itself is physically assembled in the United States, well, that component is going to cost more for the American company to import, and usually that means the cost of the entire gaming console will go up, which means in the end, you're going to probably have to pay more for it. And that goes for a lot of things you use every single day that you might not even realize. Fact 4, even if something you use or consume has a Made in America label, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's fully made in America and therefore immune to these tariffs. According to the Federal Trade Commission, in order for a company to be able to slap that Made in America label on their product, it has to be all or virtually all made in this country. Components of a Made in America labeled product can absolutely be imported from another country. So even your made in America products may not be immune from these tariffs. And fact 5. Yes, there was a point in our country's history where the revenue from tariffs made up most of the income the United States needed. But that was like a century ago. The world is different now. Technology has made our supply chain global, and labor costs in the United States are far higher than they are in other countries. That makes it less likely that every single American company would start manufacturing every single product here in the United States. For most of them, it'll probably be easier and cheaper for them to import the cheaper good, pay the high tariff, and then just charge you more. But hey, maybe 70 years of tariff data and precedent and all the economists are going to be wrong, and maybe this time things will be different. I don't know. We'll all have to wait and see.